even though things are hard, doesn't mean that they're not great and really beautiful. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's been a while since I've done a sit down video and caught up on mom life. I've been having so much fun sharing my book content with you, but I do love being able to share more of my day-to-day life and what that looks like with you guys. I feel like life as a mom is especially crazy during the summer, so I just wanted to share a few things that have been helping me romanticize my life still during the summer and keeping me from losing my mind. To be very, very honest, the beginning of this summer has been a little bit rough for me ever since school has come out. I feel like going from having the kids gone for a little bit of a portion of the day and to be able to have some time to myself, and then switching and going from me getting the kids up, having them all day, and then sometimes putting them to bed by myself depending on my husband's work schedule, it really started to take a toll on me. I just found myself losing patience a lot quicker with my kids. I felt like I was just always annoyed, and that is not the type of mom that I want to be. So I've really been trying to change my attitude and incorporate a few things that have really helped me to be more of the mom that I want to be. So if you feel like you relate to that, hopefully you'll get some value out of today's video. I think the first part of it for me, what has really helped is, like I said earlier, just accepting the phase of life that I'm in and learning to romanticize little parts of it. I can't change that I am the primary caregiver for my kids. And I don't necessarily want to do that either, but what I mean is I can't really change the fact that there's no school right now, right? And they're with me for all day, every day. I can't change that. And so I feel like dwelling on that and counting down the hours until kids go back to school is just not a mindset that really is helping me. And I feel like that is not the way to find contentment and peace in your phase of life right now. For me, that just means like embracing the chaos. The noise is going to exist. The messes are going to happen. So it's up to me to change my attitude and carve out time for myself. So some of the ways that I do that are by listening to audiobooks while I clean, while I do dishes, while I cook, or sometimes even if I feel like I'm getting really overstimulated by, my kids just being kids, like being loud, destroying the house sometimes. Sometimes I'll just slip my noise canceling headphones on and I will listen to a book or a podcast or something like that. And it really helps me ground myself in those moments. Another thing that has been really helpful for us has been Another thing that's been really helpful for me has been incorporating little things in my kids' routine that I really like to do. We've been spending a lot more time reading, me and my kids side by side. Whether they're looking at books next to me or I'm physically reading a book to them, that's something that I love to do. It's something that just makes me happy. And so incorporating my kids into that, not only does it pass the time, but it also helps me feel like I'm able to do things that I want to do, and having them join in on that is just so fun. I feel like it's little things like that that just really help. Like, yes, acknowledging that my life looks different right now. It's a lot more crazy. Maybe certain situations aren't ideal. With little things like that, I'm really able to find the beauty in it. Kind of touched on this, but the next thing that really helps me is I make time for my hobbies. You guys know that I'm a big reader, and one of my most frequently asked questions is, how do I make time to read as a busy mom? For me, it's about finding time to read like in the margins of my day, if that makes sense. So for me, a big part of it is waking up a little bit earlier than my kids. I have time to just sit on the couch and be cozy with a book. I feel like it's just one of the most peaceful ways to start my day. And then, as I mentioned before, if I have different chores to do throughout the day that I don't necessarily have to be mentally present for, it's a great time for me to put my headphones on and start an audiobook. Probably get to finish 4 audiobooks a month just by doing that, which is really cool. Sometimes I will rent an audiobook from my library that I also have a physical copy of in my home, so that I don't have as much time to read it as I like to during the day. I'm also able to continue the same story by listening to it. Also recently started carrying a purse again. Once my son got potty trained, I was so ready to let go of the diaper bag and just be done with carrying something and just grab my kids and go out where we're gonna go. But I've recently started carrying a purse again, and I always make sure that I either have my Kindle in it or a book, because you'd be surprised how many times you're sitting somewhere, for example, a library, and your kids don't need you. if you're taking your kids to lunch and there's a play place or something like that. Times that you normally are scrolling on your phone, those are perfect times to be able to read. Whether it's only one chapter, whether it's a few pages, finding little pockets of time during my day like that I would normally scroll, I try to switch that with reading, and I feel like it really centers me. It also helps me keep my screen time down, which is something that I'm really, really bad at. I think a lot of people are bad at. I've also recently created an after bedtime ritual. I normally do this during the summers, but my kids go to bed around 7, but it doesn't get dark until 9, where after I put them down, I will take a book and I will go enjoy the last little bit of sun and the sunset outside while I read my book. It's just like the best cozy vibes ever. And if you don't relate to loving to read, I feel like this applies to really any other hobby. Finding little times during the day that you can fit it in. Again, just accepting that you might not be able to sit down and have an entire hour of doing that hobby that you really want to do, but if you're committed to making it work, you will be surprised at the amount of time that you can find to dedicate to what you want to do. Another thing that has been really, really helpful for me and just bettering my attitude and really being content in this phase of life is letting go of perfection, letting go of my all or nothing mentality. Really, really been focusing on just remembering and accepting that romanticizing my life and enjoying this phase of life I'm in doesn't mean that it's going to be perfect, doesn't mean that every single day my morning routine is going to be perfect, doesn't mean that every single day after bedtime I'm going to be able to go out and have that time to read. Learning to be a lot more flexible and going with the flow, measuring my expectations of what I can do right now, what my kids can do right now, what we as a family can do right now. I used to get really frustrated when I would take my kids to go do something. One of them was complaining the whole time, the other one was crying or screaming the whole time, and I would just get really frustrated. Within myself, I would just be like, why do I ever try to do anything like this? Why do I ever try to do fun things with my kids, because it always turns out this way? And that's just another thing with mindset. I just had to learn to accept that some things were going to be harder and things weren't going to go our way, but that doesn't mean that we can't have a great time. It's just going to look a little bit differently than what it did before. So hopefully this is all making sense. I feel like to my girls that have young kids, they'll understand what I'm trying to say, but just I think lastly, the biggest thing that has really, really helped me is just encouraging myself not to isolate during times I am having a rough go at it. I've been so lucky to find great friends who are in similar phases of life, finding ways to get outside of the house and just be with other people, my kids to be with other kids. During my most stressed seasons, that seems like an impossibility. I think finding your circle is so important, because now that I've found my circle, even when I'm struggling, texting them and asking, hey, does anybody want to go to the park? Hey, does anyone want to go to the coffee shop? I'm really having a tough parenting morning and I could use an adult to talk to. Countless times have my friends and I just sent similar texts as these to each other, and just getting together for half an hour, that has been so helpful, and it has just really reminded me that I'm not alone, and that even though things are hard, doesn't mean that they're not great and really beautiful. Just talking those things out with other moms who understand, such a breath of fresh air, especially those friends that you can hang out with, that you know you can say whatever it is that you're feeling and they're not going to judge you, and they're not going to think that you despise your calling as a mom or that you regret your decisions. That has been probably one of the most helpful things ever. Along that same vein, I would be doing everybody a disservice if I didn't mention therapy. I feel like therapy is a huge one when you're feeling that way. Being able to talk about all of the hard things in your life with someone that is very qualified and having just an outside opinion and helping you make a game plan moving forward, that is so helpful. That is all I have for you today, my friends. So glad I got to sit down and film this video. Hopefully this season as a mom is going so well for you, and if it hasn't been, hopefully you feel a little bit less alone. I would love to hear from you in the comments what things help you romanticize your life as a mom. Just a gentle reminder that even if you're having a hard time, it doesn't make you a bad mom, and the purpose of life isn't for you to feel like you are surviving and not thriving. I firmly believe that whatever our circumstances, we can find little ways to find happiness throughout our days or romanticize our lives. But anyways, if you stayed to the end of the video, thank you so much for listening to all of my yapping. Really appreciate having you guys here. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.